friends, and welcome back. I hope you're doing well. That is a little physique update from me because I have just finished a 4 and a bit week mini cut, and that's how I'm looking. So I thought that I would come on and chat to you guys today about what a mini cut is and why I did one and what my results were. So first of all, what is a mini cut? Basically, a mini cut is a short dieting phase of about 4 to 6 weeks. Anything longer than 6 weeks is probably just a traditional diet, and anything shorter than 4 weeks is just like a random period of under eating, I would guess, where I'm not sure if you would be able to achieve much in 2 weeks or so. But because of their short nature, they also do tend to be quite aggressive. And traditionally, mini cuts were used by male bodybuilders in their off season when they're going through a growing phase, when they're wanting to put on muscle and they just want to cut back a little bit of that body fat so they stay in check before they go back into further gaining. And that key focus of going back to gaining is what kind of differentiates mini cuts from other kinds of short, sharp, fast, hard kind of diets, is that you don't want to maintain that weight that you lose, and the focus is that you are going back to gaining weight and putting on muscle. So what are the benefits of mini cutting? So when you go into a calorie deficit, obviously there's less nutrients available for your body to use. And so therefore the nutrients that you do give your body, it becomes a lot more sensitive to them and it is going to utilize them more effectively. And your body becomes more primed and more ready to use the resources that it has available. This is also kind of called insulin sensitivity. So basically you kind of deplete your body a little bit, you restrict the nutrients, and then when you add them back in, your body is more primed to use them more effectively for your ultimate goal, which is gaining more muscle. It's kind of like giving your body a little bit of a shock, like, stop being lazy, let's get back into this muscle building action. Another benefit is reduced likelihood of muscle loss. So when you're in a calorie deficit, obviously you're wanting to minimize this as much as possible, but if you are in a calorie deficit for an extended period, you are going to draw some energy from your muscles and your muscles are going to start to break down. So obviously, shorter time period, less likely that this is going to happen. But also this kind of short time period isn't realistic for everyone. This is the first time that I've done a mini cut. My 2 cuts that I've done previously have been much longer in length, and if you have more weight to lose, then it's just going to have to go for longer. Another benefit is there's less diet fatigue than if you're cutting for a longer period of time, and you can kind of more easily fit it into your life, which I guess brings me to my next point of who should mini cut. And really it's for people that already have a very good understanding of macros and calories, who have a pretty good knowledge of where their maintenance level is at and what kind of calories or macros they lose on. Because it's meant to be like a quick in-out kind of diet, you don't want to spend too much time trying to like change your macros and calories around and find the right point and things like that. You really just kind of want to know, yep, I know I can lose on this and I know I can stick to this, so that's what I'm going to go for. And really a mini cut is for people that also do truly want to focus on strength and performance and muscle building rather than fat loss. And I think it's really important that you're honest with yourself about why you want to go through a mini cut if you are interested in doing one. It's not just meant to be like a fad diet. You're not meant to lose the weight and then keep it off. Your priority is meant to be muscle building, and a mini cut is just kind of to prime your body again for the muscle building and to kind of keep your body fat in check. So who shouldn't do a mini cut? I wouldn't be trying to do a mini cut if you've got a really busy, stressful life, or you've got a lot of things coming up, like a lot of events, especially over summer, like people going out like multiple times a week. It's probably not the best time to do a mini cut. I did it now like in winter, and the past 4 weeks have been fairly straightforward with my schedule. So it was really kind of perfect timing for me. It could easily fit into my life. In addition, people with a history of yo-yo dieting or binging really shouldn't be giving mini cuts a go, just because it kind of plays into that mentality a little bit. And yes, in all honesty, I have been quite open about my previous struggles with binging, and perhaps I wasn't the perfect case for giving this a go, and I knew that, but I did this independently of my coach. I did it myself. It was just an experiment that I wanted to try. I just wanted to kind of give it a go, and if I had have binged, I think that would have been the end of it and I would have stopped the mini cut then and there. But I got through the 4 weeks binge free, but I could tell towards the end I was starting to maybe have those subconscious urges a little bit. So I'm glad that I stopped when I did. but I definitely wouldn't have wanted to go any longer than 4 weeks, that's for sure. Okay, so now chatting about my mini cut. Firstly, I just want to say why I did one. I gained 4 kilos in 2 months in the lead up to my powerlifting competition. And I think that's just because my macros or my calories were a little bit too high. And especially towards the end of a powerlifting prep, your volume really kind of decreases, you're burning kind of less and less calories each session. So I think I was just eating too many calories for my activity levels and I gained weight a little bit too quickly. I'm okay with gaining weight, but 4 kilos in 2 months is a little bit kind of too fast for me. So I didn't want to change anything with my calories. Obviously before the prep, I wanted to make sure that I was getting enough nutrients to be able to perform on the day of the competition. But then once the competition was over, I fairly substantially cut my calories. I went from about 2,200 down to 1,700. Stuck at 1,700 for the first 2 weeks of the mini cut, and then for the second 2 weeks of the mini cut, I decreased to 1,650-ish. And those numbers I chose just because I knew that I'd lost weight on those numbers in the past, and they were quite specific for me, and I do have a fairly good understanding of, what I need to lose weight on. In terms of exercise, I also slightly increased my activity levels. I was still doing my normal 5 gym sessions a week plus 1 spin class, but I was a lot more flexible in my schedule, also just coming out of a powerlifting competition and having rigid programming for so long. If I had the opportunity to do some more activity or different exercise here and there, I did it. And I also made sure that I was doing over 10,000 steps a day, whereas normally I would do maybe like 8,000. So I did increase my activity levels, but not in a very kind of super structured way. The first week of the mini cut, I lost a lot of water weight, which is very normal for me, especially when I see a big drop in the scale happen over just a few days. I know that it's just water, and it's just the fact of that I'm eating less carbs, and carbs hold water, therefore you lose water weight, which is why people find keto and low carb diets so satisfying to start with. But it's just water, like there's more fat to be lost. But I thought I would run you guys through my normal graph as I usually do. So we're back here with my graph again. The date down the bottom, we start at the start of May and goes through till now. The blue dots are weight in kilos on the left axis, and the red dots are my average calorie intake per day, which is on the right axis. And I've got started from May because I just wanted to show the increase in weight and where my calories were at in the lead up to my powerlifting competition. And I got to my powerlifting competition and I was 70 kilos, and then I dropped down the calories, and you can see a pretty sharp drop due to that water weight, and then decrease, and then maybe a little bit of a plateau in that last week. So all in all, it's short, it's sharp, and it's done. I went from about 70 kilos to about 67.5 kilos, so lost 2.5 kilos-ish in 4 weeks, which is a pretty normal kind of rate of loss. There's nothing phenomenal about that or anything. I also did lose 2 centimeters off my waist, which was great. And I lost no centimeters off my bum, because I always lose centimeters off my bum when I diet, because that's just where I have fat. But this time it didn't happen. So I'm happy about that. Thank you, hip thrusts, and thank you to this short, sharp diet. I don't think that my gym sessions suffered too much. My strength didn't suffer too much. But I mean, it was still fairly moderately aggressive. I did start to get a little bit sick of it towards the end. I wasn't particularly hungry, but I mean, I wasn't able to eat as freely as I wanted, which is obviously like what happens during dieting. You have to make sacrifices. So I'm glad that I did these 4 weeks. Yes, I would probably do a mini cut again sometime further down the track, but for now it's time for me to focus on increasing my calories. I'm back working with my coach Chrissy after my little self-experiment, and we're going to focus on some hypertrophy now and putting on some muscle, and I do well expect that that 2.5 kilos that I lost will come back on again, but hopefully it's more in the form of water and muscle rather than fat. That being said, obviously fat gains have to happen alongside with muscle gains, but hopefully my body is ready to get going and get strong now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I covered everything that was of interest for you guys in terms of mini cuts, and maybe it's something that you might want to implement, or maybe it's something that you're like, no, this definitely isn't for me. That's also important to recognize these things. So if you did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate if you gave me a thumbs up. If I didn't cover anything, or if you have any further questions, please leave a comment or question below. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe to my channel. I plan on doing a video very soon about my recent use of creatine, which is a pretty interesting supplement. So please subscribe and stay tuned for that. And then until next time, guys, thanks for watching.